who talks about Armada 2.0, I swear to God I will come for you.
Saying that they are surprise mechanics and people love surprises.
To get a Baneblade, the plastic Baneblade, to sell in the store at ROE Games, 19 Park Lane, Havelock. Come by, see us.
Aoski here, and this is By the Numbers.
This week we're going to be going over character creation for Wrath and Glory.
My name is Keith, or you can call me ArmorBoy21. It's my gaming deck. Today we're going to learn D&D.
Oh, hello there.
Your armor, sir?
Boom!
You take 7 points of damage.
Alright guys, we're rocking out really hard tonight. So what we got going on is Grease.
There will be swearing and or shenanigans of the adult nature.
Damn it!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Gamer Interrupted. My name is AJ East Coast, and I am your host. And we are back with Big Duke, Mr. Laceration. Thanks for joining us again, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I got the Red Sox hat on tonight. The Sox have been fucking killing it. If Doc goes back and listens to it later, they are killing it. JD Martinez, I don't know what you've been putting in your waffles in the morning, but you are hitting home runs left and right. I got to pick up the new baseball game, so it put the Sox in now, so we might have a chance to win a series.
Hey, it's great. The new game is really good.
It's good? Do you like it? I'm going to have to pick it up. That's good. I got this World Series championship ring from 2018. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah. Like any Sox fan, good, like actual legit Sox fans would have.
Yeah. So I'm hoping for 2021 World Champions. That'd be cool. Every 3 years, sometimes that happens like that when they win. But anyways, what's been going on in the world of Duke down there in Vegas? How are things Corona-wise? Are things starting to lighten up a little bit, or?
Actually, yes. A lot of more things are starting to open up to actual like full capacity. We actually recently did a show here in Vegas at the Super Beast training compound, and we had full capacity there too.
Nice.
A lot of good talent came out. We even had Jacob Fatu.
Oh, awesome.
The ML heavyweight champion. So we had him come out too and perform as well. But yeah, everything's starting to open back up now, and
that's good, man. That's good. That's good to hear.
Of course, still restaurants are shut. Their seating areas sometimes are a little bit either low capacity or still off limits, but everything else.
Things are pretty much back here in normal. I was down in Daytona this weekend, and they don't have a mask mandate, so things are pretty much. It seems nowadays, unless you're like working at a business or something, that's the only time I've seen people wear masks around here.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, before we get started, I wanted to do just a little quick ad for Fit and Prep. As always, this episode and more is sponsored by them. I wanted to show off this food we've got. Oh, I'm so bad at doing this. Here we go. So Henry and his wife send us these every Sunday, 4-piece, and pop them in the microwave for 3 minutes. They're really good variety. He's never really sent me the same thing twice unless I ask for it, because it's amazing. They cater to what you like. And they ask you like, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? And if you don't like something, you can just go ahead and tell them like, hey, I don't like shrimp, and they won't give you shrimp. So basically, this week they gave us shrimp gumbo, sautéed in some mushrooms and some side of couscous. I'm excited for that.
Website or anything to go look at or something? Because I'm getting back into meal prep.
Yeah, dude. So these meal preps are finally getting out of the Florida area, and they're gonna go nationwide. So you go to fitandprep.com. FITNPREP.com, and you're going to type in your zip code in there, and then you'll see if they can send out to you. If not, they'll say like coming soon. I know that they're expanding nationwide as much as they can, probably in my opinion using the similar stuff like HelloFresh does with their boxes. Something like that I can imagine would come out to you guys outside of Florida. Yeah, but it's good food, man. It's so good. I had the first one I had this week was salmon over pasta with broccoli on the side. It was freaking great.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I might definitely have to look into that.
Yeah.
And it was one more. What was it?
Fit and Prep. Fitandprep.com. FITNPREP. They are our sponsors here on Gamer Interrupted and on the Tag Out podcast. And speaking of that, me and you've got some ideas on the Tag Out, trying to see, go back and, excuse me, guys. Oh, Lord. Go back and watch, like old pay-per-views or something like that. Something that, we were kids or like maybe we didn't see or something. Especially stuff from like, I don't know, when I was in the service, I missed a lot of stuff, a lot of history with video games, wrestling, pop culture, music. I missed a lot, so I'm really doing a big catch up on that. So I'd like to see like I tell Jeremy and over on the Tag Out that, he sees history that I haven't seen before. So like we could do something like that too, and we could do the same thing here on Enter the Gamer, go back and look at old games and you maybe play them online or look at YouTube clips or whatever. What do you think?
For sure. Yeah, I'm definitely down for that.
Awesome, guys. So let's look forward to that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our topics, guys, right into the news here at GI. Speaking of, though, real quick, I think next week we're trying to, if not next week, then after that, we'll have Sunken Treasures Gaming in Washington. They're a store. They actually, it's funny, she's a wrestling fan, saw my wrestling photos, and I reached out to her because I was like, oh, I also do video games, so we're going to talk to her and her staff. Yeah. But some really awesome good news in the community, in the deaf community, in the disabled community. The folks at Google, they put closed captioning on video calls. That's amazing. So, and I was so blown away by this. The deaf family was signing to their their English or their hearing family, and it showed the captions of what they were signing. And everything me and you were saying back to you, like right now, would be instantly captioned on a video call for deaf people and others of, I guess other languages too, spit out English and it's going to put out a subtitles. Imagine what that's going to do for business calls. You're going to be able to speak to other countries and other people, especially deaf businesses.
Right.
Deaf businesses. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, you good. Go ahead, man.
I was just going to say that would open a huge world for deaf businesses, especially deaf restaurant owners or something like that.
Right. We it actually helps a lot, especially for people like the Vegas area too. I've gone to plenty of festivals. I've worked at different Amazon buildings where they had workers who are like deaf.
Yeah.
And especially for people like businesses that's owned by a deaf person. I was at a festival and they made crepes, and literally everybody that worked there was deaf, and I forgot the name of it, but it was it actually helps with people like that too, as you're owning a restaurant, stuff like that, or people that work at Amazon. I guarantee Amazon's probably going to jump on it as soon as possible because they do have a lot of people there that work there that are deaf. They have to sign stuff like that. So I think that was a really huge smart business move. I do think it should have been brought to the light a lot sooner, or
I believe too. Yeah,
better late than never. I'll say that.
Yeah, like I said, we're starting to get into that tech future, and a lot of cool things are starting to happen, and this is just awesome that this is one of the first things that moved into the the hard of hearing and deaf community. It's just awesome because, for me, I know a lot of veterans, including myself, came back hard of hearing. A lot of my friends are hard of hearing. And then I knew deaf people younger. I had one of my closest friends was very hard of hearing and then ended up going almost completely deaf. So this was really cool to see that because now that's one of the first things I want to do is, call my deaf friends and they'll be able to see exactly what I have to say and be like, not make fun of me because I haven't signed in 10 years or something. Yeah. But like you said, man, that's going to be cool for businesses. Video game companies, too, I was thinking about Japanese to English video game companies, go back and forth through a business call. That would be really helpful as well so that, nothing's mistranslated.
That would be nice for the gaming community as well, taking that feature that Google's using and using it into video games. Mm-hmm. As in, you see some cutscenes, and in the bottom left corner, it's and the words, let's turn them into like actual like signs that they could read and stuff. I think that would be a huge help. Like you see, I've seen episodes on Snapchat where they're talking about gamers with like certain disabilities, and you got like a lot of like deaf gamers too and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be great for them.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and I know Google does these things all the time. I know they'll probably expand to other businesses, and because this is just a miracle. It's just a milestone, really, in the tech community. And speaking of Japan and Nintendo, they've been very busy these last week or two since the last time me and you spoke. I'm talking about they released a Super Mario Party update. They released a brand new game under the radar, and they went after internet pirates.
Yep.
Yes, you heard me correct, guys. They did go after internet pirates.
Yeah, man. Like that, they also released a Pokemon Snap.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been really, really busy, and especially the Super Mario Party update. That's a huge step.
Huge step.
They've been getting blown up on their forums, like, hey, like, when is this gonna be online? Like, especially with it. It helps. I wish they would have a lot sooner, especially with the COVID thing. I think they would have made a lot of money and stuff, like during the whole shutdown, rather than like we're coming kind of towards the end of it, and you got those people who couldn't really see their family or people that are quarantined, and having that probably would have just increased their
really increased it. Yeah. Yeah, Billy Boyo in the chat, he says, "Oh yeah, online." Yeah, that's right. The Super Mario Party free update is online.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, man. Because like you mentioned, they were getting blown up on the forums. Nintendo, it just goes to show you that Nintendo is paying attention to what their fans have to say and what's going on, in the community. And if there's a problem, they do their very best to fix it. But the updates that we have officially from Nintendo, they're saying online play comes to the board game mode, partner party for 2v2 team editions, mini games, some more mini games, and then they said that it will be a free update, like I said, and it was a limited previously to online Mariothon where you challenged opponents to short mini games, but now you can just go on there and play mini games as much as you want. So they just want you to go down to your Switch, press the home button, the plus button, and software update it, and you got yourself some more Mario.
Yeah.
Got a comment in the chat from Agent Nams. He says, then giving Mario Party an online update also giving people hope that Nintendo will do more to other games such as Animal Crossing. Yeah, I have to agree with that 100%. Yeah, but how do you feel about this, the Mario Party update?
Look, like I said, Mario Party update was huge. I think it was something that everybody was waiting on too. Like, I've played Mario Party before. However, I don't. But I've played it plenty of times with my friends. And, like, it was just something people could get together, have fun with, like enjoy their time and stuff. And like I said, during the whole shutdown thing, you got people whose families are like across the nation and stuff, especially even families that have gamers inside of it, and even those who aren't gamers, it was still a good game for them to actually get together and play with their kids and stuff. So that's really huge. I think that's really, really huge, and I think now people are going to start tuning in, like, oh, they got the new update, or okay, let me get this, or let me go ahead and download this and let's play this stuff. But yes, it's a very huge thing for us.
I love it, man. I'm so excited. I just saw, pardon me, Agent Nems, I just saw your comment also up in the chat. It says that that's the local store you go to, Sunken Treasures Games. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. What a small community world. But yes, Nintendo new Mario Party update. Let's talk about them suing pirates right now. Internet pirates. Let me tell you, why if anyone is gonna fuck with anyone, why would you fuck with Nintendo? That's like the worst person that you can fuck with.
Yeah, but people continuously do it. I mean,
yeah,
it's that's another thing that was long overdue, because people have been just fucking with Nintendo for years. And now that they're actually doing the saying, like, hey, like, we've had enough of this, now starting to go after just a bunch of people. Yeah, that's something else that's long overdue.
Justice has no time limit, especially in the video game world. Nintendo will wait. Japanese people are very patient people. Yeah, they're suing Gary Bowser. He's the head guy between Team Executor, which I guess, according to the Canadian law enforcement, they said that they were selling hacking devices that enabled consoles to play unauthorized versions of games. So they were just stealing, games or games maybe that hadn't been released, or just essentially just stealing. Not great.
Right. It's stupidity. That's all. It's just
Blatant stupidity. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you mess with Nintendo, y'all. So now you're gonna be, put into millions of dollars in debts and hopefully maybe some prison time. Who knows?
Yeah, they got what they deserve. That's all you do is say.
And finally, we got another comment from Nams. He says, to be frank, I feel this is the first time we've seen Nintendo deliver Iron Fist on pirates and is sending every other pirate a message. Correct. That's what Duke was saying. We're sick of it, and now we're showing we mean business. Yes, they are. So other pirates definitely take notice to what's going on right now in the world. But positive Nintendo news that came out, they released a new video game that is a rival to Sony's video game that taught people how to play or make video games. Now they released a video game teaching people how to make video games, young developers, and putting things together, and puzzles and level building and all kinds of stuff.
That's really good. I used to, back when I was in college, I used to go into game design before I changed it back to graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
And the process of it, and going through so many different applications, whatever, to even make a game, especially a tabletop one. It was tough, but I feel like that's gonna give people an idea of what game designers go through as far as making games and stuff, and just to it also inspire future game designers. Okay,
yeah,
this is what you want to do. This is the certain processes, certain steps that need to be done for it. So I think that's a really great idea.
Well, I'm almost done with my degree in game design, and it's quite a journey to be able to study that stuff, and it's hard work, but it's really creative. It's nuts. But there's a giant world of it. There's a giant world of things you could do in game design, and Nintendo is just showcasing this now with building, taking on things such as driving mechanics, movement, level design, basic stuff. And I see this as they're looking at this as a little farm system, because if they're starting kids off young, a lot of kids play the Nintendo Switch, then like you said, they're just learning and inspiring new designers to want to do this probably permanently.
Yeah, because all that stuff is tough. Like you said, the level designing,
Mm-hmm.
the game mechanics, figuring out what type of game and stuff, and oh man, yeah, it was a whole lot. But yeah, there are different levels to it, and I'm just hoping that this actually opens people's minds, whatever, and let them know what's in store for game designs, and
Mm-hmm.
actually get more game designers out there. I mean, for us, the more the merrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The more game designers, the merrier. The more stuff that's going to happen. And plus the creativity, for children right now, especially the younger generation, learning on, for us, I had the big ass blue Dell computers that we played Oregon Trail on. And then, and then we finally might have, went a little bit further in technology with Windows Vista and whatnot. I didn't really have internet in my house till I was a freshman. I didn't have Wi-Fi, and then I joined the military, and everyone says, thinks that the military has the best tech. They don't. They're still using awful computers. And then, not to mention, my job never called for me to have computers. So the only really technology stuff I was doing was on my phone or gaming. So this is awesome for the younger generation that are able to see this at such a young age and learn in a way that we were never had the opportunity to learn, because most of us, by the time we were of age to use computers, we were doing typing class, or like I said, fucking Oregon Trail.
Oregon Trail was heavily underrated, because that was the game that when we were in class and we had free time, that was the game we played, and it was like, I think it was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was.
Like, factors to like go into making it all the way to the end of the route, and like to be honest, I got close, but I've never made it all the way.
Yeah, you got to do it now as you're an adult. You got to finish that.
Yeah, I got it. That's one thing I got to accomplish. Put that on my bucket list.
Nintendo Nams has a comment as well. He says, video games expanding as much as they are. Nintendo releasing this is giving so many people, vets and newcomers, to really expand their tool set and create vast worlds that could one day potential be the next big game. Exactly. This is just a bigger testing field for, instead of learning something on Unity or on Unreal on your home computer, this is just a bigger testing field that you can do, and then hopefully, like Nams was saying, spark the idea and put it onto Unity or Unreal.
Yeah, Unity or Unreal, dog. Yeah, that just brought back memories, man.
Yeah, I've got some things about game design, but you know what? I did find my niche of what I do like in it, so... But, you know, that's a story for other time. We've got some other stuff going on in the world of Nintendo as well, and you got excited about this when we spoke about it before. Pokemon Snap is out. And like I said on my previous podcast, my Switch broke, but have you had the opportunity to look at Pokemon Snap very much?
I've watched, like, just gameplay of it. I haven't necessarily played it myself. With me, I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Like,
Me too, yeah.
I'm more of, like, the Pokemon Snap thing, it's not a bad idea, but I'm more of, like, you know, the adventure and the battle at the same time, you know, and, like, the OG, like, Pokemon games, like, you got your adventures and you got your battles here and there, you're trying to be the best, and that's more of, like, the games that I'm interested in. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to, the next one coming out, the remaster of the Diamond and Pearl, you know, Brilliant Diamond and all that. So I'm looking forward to that one. Pokemon Snap, though, I have been watching my game, but overall, it's not a bad game if you want me to be brutally honest. So
yeah,
I still try it out.
I think it's really cool. I'm excited to see what people are posting, because now back in the day when Pokemon Snap first came out, no one had the opportunity to record their gameplay and post it online later. So now you have that opportunity to take screenshots. So I'm really excited to see what a lot of people are doing, figuring out the puzzles. My only issue is that I don't want to be disappointed for something that from back in the past, you know, something that I really enjoyed as a kid. Maybe this is what inspired me to do photography as much as I do. Was Pokemon Snap. But no, this is cool. And plus, you've got all the new Pokemon that have come out since the Pokemon Snap game, which was probably over 24 years ago, probably.
Jeez.
So a lot of Pokemon, a lot of content.
Yeah, and the fact that I, like, pretty much know all of, well, not all of them, but most of them by heart is kind of sad. It's so much since the original Pokemon Snap game.
Right, a long time. But I played the shit out of Pokemon Snap, let me tell you. Now, how many times I was down that damn waterfall chasing Squirtle and Wartortle. Are you a fan of Game of Thrones, Big Duke?
I wish I could say I was. I got it spoiled and ruined for me, so yeah.
So you didn't get the...
people still say, go back and watch it, but if once something's spoiled for me, that's it.
You didn't get the full experience, yeah.
Yeah, unless if it's like a wrestling match or whatever, then I'll go back and watch it to like do like film study or like learn moves. But as far as like movies or anything like that, once they're spoiled, it's spoiled.
Well, we haven't heard from the folks at Game of Thrones since that shithole ending at season 8, but we've got some news that House of the Dragon, a expansion series, is being talked about by Game of Thrones right now. House of the Dragon. And hopefully, like I said, this will be a big redemption factor for that awful, awful last season. And people, I think, still, you know, are itching for more Game of Thrones content, and for things that, you know, like, because of how bad the 8th season was, they didn't get the closure that they needed, and they want more. But this is a prequel series to the Game of Thrones, so they're doing, HBO's doing a prequel. And I guess it's going to be about the Targaryen family. So we're going to learn more about the Targaryens in the House of the Dragon. I'm a big House Stark fan myself.
I hope that, for the company's sake, it's either just as good or better. Because if it's not, then you're gonna have a lot of pissed off Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah.
So I just hope that it's either better or just as good. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, there's just a lot of lore out there that's just left undone in the Game of Thrones era as well, and there's so many people had so many different questions about House Targaryen, so a lot they can expand on a lot and probably answer some questions too. And who knows, maybe they'll allude to things that kind of make up for the story later, like maybe you'll put the connect the dots later in the future story, be like, oh, so they're making up for this by telling us in the past.
Right.
That could be it. But yeah. And then some more TV news. World of Darkness is coming to TV. And this is a big RPG game now coming to TV. World of Darkness. They're building a series around that right now. Have you heard of World of Darkness?
No, I have not. Definitely, it sounds familiar, but I'm not too sure.
It's a tabletop game, and here at ETG we do play a lot of tabletop stuff. Doc, I'm sure when he goes back and listens to this, we'll tell you all about it on Facebook. But it's been around for quite a long time. They have sub-series like Vampire the Masquerade and stuff. They've been around since 91, and now their latest release was in 2016. So now they're putting together a TV series based off of this fandom and the tabletop game. And I think this is crazy because all nerds everywhere probably fell out of their chairs like, oh my god. Their fantasies are coming to real life on the television. But Shadow and Bone, I guess the people that made Shadow and Bone is another new series that just recently came out. I haven't heard of them, but they also did The Witcher. They're going to do this show, The World of Darkness, and they're going to start with their vampire series because that was probably the most popular of their series was the vampire content.
My opinion, bringing video games into the TV or movie scene, it's a lot of I guess you could say backlash as far as the game or the show actually being similar to how the game is, or vice versa. But in my opinion, I just think that hopefully, like I said, I've never played World of Darkness before, but
me neither.
I just hope that at least somewhat of the story is the same, or not the same, but similar to it. So that way a lot of people aren't throwing hate at it or throwing shade, pun intended, because of your shirt.
I got the shade shirt.
So just feel throwing it at that the TV series, because we got a lot of TV shows that come from games and stuff that just they just receive backlash. So okay, this has nothing to do with the game, or whatever. Right.
Or even things like anime that turned to real life, like what Netflix did with Death Note. I think that's where people don't want that shit to happen again.
Yeah, exactly. That's just.
It's precious content, producers. It's precious content. Because, and I'd have to agree with you and to further expand on this point, because our next topic has to tabletops as well. The tabletop community is so gigantic, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. But a simulator for a tabletop that people are building, the developers put out a crowdfunder, and they raised $17.5 million fucking dollars. Yeah, a lot of money for a tabletop sim. A lot of money for a game in general. That's like movie budget money.
Yeah, well, see, with like you said, tabletops, they're underrated because the community is underrated because they don't really think that, when it comes to games, whatever, they think a lot of people are just digital or video games, whatever, but they don't, they underestimate the people who are in board games.
Yes.
For instance, like this weekend soon, I'm about to be a part of a D&D thing. There's so many people out there that still play D&D.
So many.
You've got actors, pro wrestlers and stuff do it. I was just watching a few tweets back and forth between wrestlers that are trying to set up D&D and stuff. It's very big. So people don't really put that as a factor or whatever, or like they kind of overlook it because it's a tabletop game or anything
Mhm.
like that rather than a normal video game.
And people don't obviously understand the fan base at all. And look what happens here with $17.5 million raised.
Exactly.
And so the game, guys, is Multiverse. If you know that one, the tabletop Multiverse, they're having a game. Their digital version is called One More Multiverse. It's a 2D RPG inspired digital tabletop platform that's very similar to things like Roll20, where you can play, which is another tabletop simulator, or just basically any other online tabletop simulators that game designers are throwing up there. This is very similar to that, but with $17.5 million, this is obviously going to be quite the project, and they probably, hopefully, that they use it to their advantage and not blow it or anything like that. And they definitely, hopefully, I can imagine with that amount of money, they'll be able to do some pretty damn good things and hire some good people and good writers and things like that.
They have no choice. With that much money, it damn well better be good.
Yeah. Like I said, that's blockbuster movie money right there.
Right.
That at least starting some. But now we got you on here. Everyone, if you weren't familiar with Big Duke Laceration from his last time that me and Griffin had him on here, we did an interview with him. He is a pro wrestler for Versus Pro, right? Versus Pro in Las Vegas.
That's correct.
So something interesting on television right now, A&E is doing some stuff about WWE and the wrestling community. And this is interesting because this is a first time for a while. This is a non WWE sponsored thing. So, like you can watch WWE content on documentary series of like Peacock and whatnot. But the documentaries sometimes are produced and made by WWE. So with an outside perspective, they're able to say and do things that aren't necessarily within the realm of it. So they've got one called Biography, where they're doing stuff about legends like Stone Cold and Macho Man, things like that. And then they've got one about legendary merch, where they're basically going around the country trying to find legendary merchandise from the 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool that they're trying to preserve this amount of history, especially for the new fans, because of the recent successes of Peacock and stuff like that.
Yeah, and on top of that move to Peacock, which is, I don't know. Me personally, I just think it was unnecessary. Well, from an outside business view, maybe they did it and it was probably saving them more money, but at the same time, I think it was kind of unnecessary. They had a lot of people bringing in a lot of customers throughout the network, the WWE network, and then it sucked because on top of that, the customers that already paid or recently paid, and then they made the switch, now had to switch over to Peacock and pay another subscription. So I'm like, yeah, a little effed up.
That was a pain in the ass.
But A&E, that's a really good move, because A&E is really good and known for documentaries and stuff like that too. So that's a huge step.
Yeah.
I think it should be good. It should be really good.
Nams commented on our last topic real quick. He says people don't want to play board games as much anymore. I think companies making board games like the new Monster Hunter board game and things like that is awesome. Yeah, definitely keep the content fresh and alive. But yeah, with these documentary series, it's cool. I think you'll be able to see some stuff that isn't necessarily, like I said, your typical WWE content. And with that being said, Austin Creed, also known as Xavier Woods, who is a WWE superstar, Austin Creed hosting G4 this year, and he wants to blend gaming and wrestling into one. Basically everything that he is into one he wants to build for G4. And this is awesome because no better than the king of up, up, down, down.
Right. And exactly. And that was one topic I was about to point directly to. His up, up, down, down thing has been blowing up. And, and it's also nice because with him hosting and stuff, and he's had his moments where, with wrestling and gaming or whatever, collided. And I guess they have that little, what they call a little multiverse of wrestling where, him and Kenny Omega have some beef when it comes to and stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice to actually put that together because you do have a lot of wrestlers that are very talented in like in video game stuff too. So it's nice. Like you got Cesaro's very talented when it comes to like RPG games or role playing games or turn based stuff.
Guys like Adam Cole, they all did that League of Legends tournaments, all that stuff. They're really good.
So it's like you have a lot of people, who are wrestlers and stuff, but besides Xavier Woods or Kenny Omega who freely go and do it or something like that, I feel like besides Xavier Woods trying to blend all that together, like people like that wouldn't really do it. But now, if he successfully blends it together, that's going to give people more of confidence to go into gamer tournaments and be like, hey, you know what? Let me try my luck, or whatever, and do this and that. But I think that's a huge step.
I think it is too.
Not only just for people in WWE, people in MLW, AEW, and stuff. And
all wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, and make it so that that way everybody's literally coming together outside of wrestling.
The wrestling and the gaming community are pretty much synonymous within their own. Along with wrestling fans, have pretty much always been gaming fans because there's always typically a wrestling video game to do and play for you to live out, your fantasy bookings and things that you want to see happen on television. So video game, wrestling fans are huge gamers, and they're not always going to be playing that. They're going to be playing other stuff. Like, you're honestly the physical representation of exactly what I'm talking about right now, wrestling and video games.
It's like I went from a gamer and then actually doing it myself, and now that some of the games are coming out, okay, I hate to give them credit, but the WWE games, I give them credit for their my careers, their story modes. You create your character, and then you're not in the WWE. You have to make your way into it. So going into from 2K19 and 2K20, shout out to AJ Kurtz, or Buzz from 2K19 or whatever.
Yeah.
He going into the story mode from 19, you start from a small promotion in BCW, whatever, you work your way up, and once you do make it, you go off to Japan and stuff like that. And 2K20 is very similar. You're coming out of high school, you want to get into pro wrestling, you go you train in Calgary or whatever, and then you do so well there, get caught up. It's just, that's what I give credit for, because they actually show you okay, you don't just automatically go to
right.
TV, steps that you have to take.
And it's always really cool, yeah. Their story modes are always really good. Like Dave Reckoning's story modes was awesome. The SmackDown vs. Raw story modes are really cool. Just things that are outside of wrestling that, for the most part, probably most likely will never happen.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, Austin Creed, no one better but to blend this stuff with the popularity of Up, Up, Down, Down. If you guys aren't familiar with Up, Up, Down, Down, him and Tyler Breeze, Matt Clement, on Up, Up, Down, Down, they put a lot of gaming content out where they interact with other wrestlers, other gamers, do anywhere from League of Legends to new games, free games, things like that. They do all kinds of stuff. And their most popular thing is that him and Tyler Breeze sit down and do basically like a My Universe mode, to battle the brands and see who can be a better promoter and booker. I think that's really cool. Yeah. So wrestling and games, like I said, synonymous. They are really cool. Check out Up, Up, Down, Down. And speaking of free games, Epic Games, this really cool, interesting game called Pine is free this week on Epic Games. And this was making me wonder, with the amount of free games, it seems like pretty much every platform it has an opportunity for you to play free games. There should be no reason, as long as you have an internet source, and even as an internet source to download the game, there should be no reason why anyone is going without games these days. You should be able to play free games no matter what it is. They might not be the greatest thing, right? But at least you have some form of entertainment. And companies are really starting to push the stuff that's coming out. Good games, like they gave away Grand Theft Auto for free. Things like Warzone is awesome. Rocket League, I think they gave away for free for a while. But also, this gives opportunities for indie developers to be showcased, because now Pine, they're a Dutch team called Twirlbound, and they were started on Kickstarter, and now they got their game given away on Epic for free. And this is a good thing when I say that brings attention to them, because now you get to see what else they're able to do, and also showcase their beautiful work that they put into Pine, because this game is aesthetically one of the better indie games of the last few years, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it is nice. A lot of people, are saying like, man, all these companies are giving out free games and stuff, and they could be potentially losing money, which is not the case because think of like, for instance, you brought up Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
Warzone is completely free, but there's in-game purchases. Like, like some people may be thinking like, oh, you know what? I want to ride around and listen to some of my favorite songs that I listen to real life. Boom. You literally like pay for a little DLC for that, and you're rolling around in a random truck or ATV, blasting clips, grinding, or some DMX. Just
Yep.
It's nice. It's a way for them to like, be like, hey, there's a game you can play, or whatever. Sure, you might not have all the like content on there. You pay for it still, and they're still getting their money that way too. And I just think it's nice. I think, and they're starting to do that a lot more now with games. More often than usual too. So, I mean, at the same time, it's really good for them, good for their business, and at the same time, they're not losing money too.
Yeah. Because like it brings me back to like when I was in the service, I was to heavily, to fight the boredom and everything. I really turned to video games, and I was heavily playing back then. We didn't get paid all that great, so I was thinking, every maybe once a month or 2 months, I'd pick up a game, maybe even 3 months even then but the rest of the time I relied on things that were free to play or things that I already had. So this is awesome to see the more and more free to play. Like Bill Boyo in the chat just said Destiny is free to play even. Yeah, that's a huge game that's free to play.
Yeah.
So guys, check out Pine on Epic Games. It's really, you won't be disappointed. Beautiful games. And with Black History Month this past February, they showcased incredible talent from all over works of entertainment in the Black community, and that was amazing to see. And incredible films have come out this year in the Black community as well. And people then in the game design community said, "Hey, we need to remember a fella named Jerry Lawson. He was a Black engineer in video games, one of the first as well." So people, better late than never, are now honoring Mr. Jerry Lawson for his work that he participated in the video games and in the Black community.
Right.
This is really awesome. As him as an engineer, he designed Fairchild Channel F video game console, and he basically was the one that started the concept of the video game cartridge. He started that engineering process, so that's really awesome to see that he's being highlighted, because that just changed the world in video games alone.
Man, from cartridges all the way to the evolution of just how
Yeah.
bro, yeah, cartridges to discs to now digital, it's
So think about, had Jerry Lawson not figured that out, video games technology could have pushed a little bit further, you know what I mean? Because that was cartridge technology, in my opinion, was a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the stuff that they were coming out with. Duck Hunt, incredible,
Yeah. Those, man. Duck Hunt.
Yeah, so shout out to Jerry Lawson. Apologize to the community that he was not honored in February, but never a better time but to honor people like that. And then our next topic, a fella in Quebec, he played games for 44 hours straight and set the world record, Guinness World Record now, 44 hours of video games. A guy in Quebec.
I just need to know how much G Fuel or Monster that man was drinking.
Exactly.
Because the most I've ever done was like maybe 26 hours fully without like just passing out while playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 44 hours. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely spend quite a lot of time on games, 8 to 12 hours sometimes, maybe a little bit longer than that depending. But 44, wow.
Yeah, I've even played with some of our friends and I'll be sitting there online and not moving, just staring all the way up at the sky, and they're like, "Duke, are you good, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good.
I'm all right."
I'll play for a few more, then I'm like, "All right, man, I got to sleep. I'm falling asleep."
Oh man, well that's nuts, man. So the guy in Quebec, 44 hours. That's just a fun little topic that we have here. But yeah, 44 hours sets the world record. So if you think you can beat him, apply on GuinnessWorldRecords.com and see if you can play longer than the guy in Quebec.
Yeah, he can have that. He can have that.
Yeah, I'm all right with that one too. We have an update on our stories that we've been covering here in ETG for a while. Me and Griffin talked about it. We talked about the Video Game Hall of Fame winners and nominees. Previously, we spoke about who we thought was going to be in the Video Game Hall of Fame. Then we covered the story saying who was going to be nominated, and now they have just announced their winners for the Video Game Hall of Fame, the first ever Video Game World Hall of Fame. And so if you guys go to the worldvideogamehalloffame.org, it is a brand new video game service or video game website this is now going to be used, for educational purposes. This is now officially entered into I guess the other realm of Hall of Fames, rock and roll, sports, football, whatnot. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, StarCraft, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, the board game, and Animal Crossing from Nintendo GameCube, all are the 2021 World Video Game Hall of Fame finalists.
Jeez.
Yep. And those are really incredible titles too. A lot of incredible titles. Things that changed video games for sure, like Microsoft Simulator has just been redone.
Yeah, the simulator itself changed.
Animal Crossing changed a huge amount of fandom. That Animal Crossing can attest to the amount of female gamers that came back to video gaming. And especially with the amount of young Animal Crossing, everyone was playing it during the pandemic. People were killing to play that game. And StarCraft, the amount of people that play and love StarCraft, it's nuts. It's astronomical. How do you feel about all those games?
That's a tough group of games, because it's like every one of them in their own aspect literally just like changed the game. Like especially the Flight Simulator. Like when it first came out, I was like, man, that's not about to be that big. Like I see people still doing it, but like they made money off of it. Like you, it's something that you don't think that a lot of people like. I mean, I would understand, like, especially people who grew up playing like Ace Combat or stuff like that, and having a flight simulator is like, okay, you know what? I want to know what it's really like.
I want to know what it's like to fly, yes. Or people that were interested in maybe going to the Air Force or the Navy or the Army or something like that.
Exactly. So it's like, that was a game changer right there. Wow. I'm very shocked, but at the same time, when I think more about it, it's not really that much shocking because, it's understandable that it should be in the finals.
Yeah.
It should be the finals.
Well, I'm excited. Those are all awesome, and I'm excited to see what other games are released in the future for the Video Game Hall of Fames. And we'll probably do some, when they announce probably later this year, we'll do the same thing like we did, talk about what you guys think who might be in the Hall of Fame. I think only one of us was right we got two right. ETG got two right, StarCraft and Animal Crossing. So,
yeah.
Some new games that is coming out that I personally have been following for a while, and I wanted to report on this. I've been tracking this story now for about 4 years. Ready or Not is a new police simulator tactical sim game for SWAT, and they used real SWAT police officers to map this entire game out using motion capture technology with guns and everything. Everything was motion captured. Every movement you're making is real in the simulation. And this came as a rival to Rainbow Six Siege. And it came into alpha. It's doing really well. It is on track. Take 17, the publishers picked them up, and they are slated for early release in June. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this police game for a long time.
That's crazy because it's so funny because I was recently talking to our friend, he goes by Easy on Xbox, and he was telling me like, hey bro, like I don't know why, but like I've been watching so many cop shows and like really wanting to play, like because at first he was like, man, I should just go on GTA roleplay and just like but he's been trying to get really into like a game that like, has like cops in it and stuff, like NBA cop. But that right there, I'm definitely gonna have to tell him about that.
Yeah.
I might have to try that out myself, just to, like, see.
I am so excited for Ready or Not because don't get me wrong, Rainbow Six Siege is an amazing game, and it is what it is, one of the best esports games ever. It's a wonderful game. I love that game. I put a lot of hours into that game. But with this game, it's just supposed to take it to a whole nother level of cop familiarity in video games, like you said. And they've developed a lot of award-winning indie games, Team 17 as well. So I'm glad for them to put out, for them to be the publishers for Void Interactive or the development team for Ready or Not. So I'm excited to check that out. I'm excited. Me and you hopefully will be playing there together. And they also have plans for console later as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye out on that. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I wonder how much they paid the police people, or probably former cops and current cops, to come and do that, because that's some incredible work, motion capture work right there.
Yeah, so especially if they're using like the same movements that they would for like police training. So I'm guessing in the game you can do a story mode, you have to go through police training and stuff. Most likely, like I haven't seen the game, so I'm guessing you probably got to go to police training. You know,
yeah.
And then boom. So
this would be great if they could expand this into virtual reality. That'd be incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yes, Ready or Not, slated for June, available on PC. It is officially up on Team 17's website for publishing, and they are also, if you guys are familiar with them, if you're familiar with the PC game that recently came out called Before We Leave, which is like another RTS similar style game for in space. But Ready or Not, Police Sim in June. I can't wait. Our last topic that we have time for is that EA Games purchased a arcade baseball franchise. So now they're trying to get into the baseball game. This is another follow-up story that we've been following now that Sony has released the chains on all baseball rights to games. I know we spoke earlier about baseball games earlier in the podcast. So now EA Sports, my only thing is that, you know how we feel about EA, they tend to fuck up, but hopefully if they continue to do some more baseball stuff, it looks like they will try and do it more arcade-wise. Probably, I would imagine they'll focus on that arcade-style sports, things like similar to Rocket League, things that Epic Games does, stuff like that, you know.
I think this is, besides, you know, their normal games like Need for Speed and stuff like that, I think this is their chance to make a comeback.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they're already doing that, then you go ahead and take time with it. If they get it, just take their time with it.
Take the time.
And literally just do what other games are. Okay, they're, as far as everything else, they're going to shut out my 2K. Already going to shut out. Just more specifically, like basketball games. It used to be like NBA Live and then 2K and stuff. Now NBA Live is nowhere to be heard from. But, you know, people are talking about, okay, like with Madden and stuff. They're like, yeah, you know, we'll do like the Madden franchise, but what if 2K brought back football and stuff, you know, like that.
Right.
But I believe this is their chance to make a comeback, you know. So if they do get the little baseball thing, they need to take their sweet time with it and focus and make sure that their servers are good, because that's the one thing that everybody hates about 2K is that their servers are complete trash in like all their games. Like literally, like it doesn't matter if it came from Borderlands or 2K.
Yeah, bad servers.
Yeah, so that's all they need to do is just focus, making sure the game is nice and well detailed, and server issues.
Yeah.
And that's really it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, hopefully it's a good comeback, and baseball's picking up popularity again,
Yes.
which is good to see. I think with the production value that has changed baseball because of the pandemic, I think a lot of people are interested in seeing it again, and the players are doing well. It felt for a while in the baseball world that there was like some weird slump the last decade, like it just wasn't entertaining. So now things are back to normal, starting to get that way, and games are starting to be entertaining again. There was a no-hitter. An Orioles pitcher threw a no-hitter a couple days ago. First time in like over 80 years or something like that. So, you know, the stars of baseball. It's a good time to play baseball. It's a good time for games. So like Duke said, take your time with it and don't fuck things up like they usually do.
Yeah.
Well, in honor, that is all of our topics that we have time for this week, guys. We didn't get to a couple of them, so you have to come back next week to was our little fall over topics. But we chose, in honor of Star Wars Week, I got my little R2 cup that I bought from Star Wars Galaxy here in Orlando. And also, if you guys didn't know, I got this giant Star Wars sleeve as well, tattoo. We've got 5 Star Wars anything, basically, that you're a fan of, whether that's novels, video games, or whatever. Top 5 of that. So I'm going to start us off. My number 5, it would be the video game Star Wars Battlefront 2, but the original one back on PlayStation 2. That would be my number 5.
Oh, yeah. The original one was, that was a goat. Number 5 for me, I'm going to go ahead and step out of the digital scene. I'm going with the toy lightsabers. Once they came out, once they came out, the toy lightsabers, it was on. Like, we collected them and like we got to customize them and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, lightsabers.
And there's a lot of with those toy lightsabers. I remember them coming out. They were so cool. And then nowadays with like things like Saber Forge or like Saber Link or whatever, they've got a lot of cool things that if you pay like a couple $100, you can get a pretty sick lightsaber to duel your friends with. So there were guys on my base in Japan that used to do it at nighttime. I'd see them dueling. They paid a few $100 for theirs. But yeah, it's awesome. The customization. That's interesting that you brought that up for your number 5. I'm going to step outside that as well. And with my number 4, I'm going to talk about Star Wars literature. Star Wars Republic Commando. Those are really awesome stuff. The stories of the Republic Commandos, like the special teams of Star Wars in the Clone Wars. I loved those books. They were a lot of fun.
Man. Jeez, that's tough to follow up on. Let's go with Star Wars ones. I've been to, I'm gonna say the conventions. I've been to a few of them, and it was you had no choice but to have fun at the Star Wars convention.
Yeah.
Like cosplaying and stuff like that. You got people that are cosplaying as like, Vader or Maul or just everyday, or Count Dooku and stuff. Like, you just had different people and everybody was nice, willing to take pictures with each other or all that stuff. It was just, you had no choice but to have, if you're a Star Wars fan, you had no choice but to have fun at the conventions. There hasn't been one yet that I've even been to that wasn't fun.
No.
Or that I didn't. So I'm going to say the conventions, for sure.
Star Wars conventions. That's a good one. Look at you stepping out the box again. My number 3, I'd have to say Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the video game on PlayStation 2, and most specifically, not only the story mode, but I loved the dueling mode. That was so sick. That was way ahead of its time, too. That was like Mortal Kombat mixed with Soul Calibur and lightsabers all at the same time. That was an awesome little mode they threw in there. Played the shit out of that.
Let's see. There was one I used to play. I'm going to the game this time. And I used to play it on like PlayStation and the Dreamcast as well. It was, and it followed the movie too. It was Star Wars. It was Episode 1, Jedi Power Battles, I believe.
Okay.
And like, you could literally, it takes you through the whole story, and like the Episode 1. So you could literally pick, Obi-Wan or Qui-Gon. You can also pick like Mace Windu and you unlock him and stuff like that too. And you can go through like the whole story and stuff, and go all the way to fight Darth Maul at the end. And it was nice. They also had a dueling mode on there too. So it
That's
was
awesome.
Nice. Yeah, it was really nice.
That's fucking sick. Number 2 for me, man. This is the motherfucking way. Mandalorian was just an incredible TV series. Some of the best Star Wars fandom I've ever seen. Jon Favreau, the best producing, writing. Space Cowboys for the win. The Mandalorian was amazing. Very well done. Some of the best content immediately out of the gate for Disney Plus. I just can't wait for season 2, man. Mandalorian season 2, it's incredible.
Yeah, I was low-key saving that for my number one. We're gonna pick different ones though, because I like the challenge. We'll pick different ones. My number 2, I'm going to have to say, shoot, what game was it? I'm gonna have to say The Fallen Order.
The Fallen Order, yeah, you liked it?
Yeah, it was the story mode and stuff was really nice. Like, I like the details, the graphics, of course, but it was like the story mode was, you were focused on it. Like,
It was interesting lore, yeah, good story.
Yeah, I liked how, like, they brought it up from like a kid who like Jedi and stuff, but he's just sitting there working like a normal person. I liked how they brought that up. Like,
and this is the first time in a while you saw Vader's Inquisitors in video games too.
So it was really nice. So I would have to say that's going to be
number 2. Yeah. Number 1 for Hitman Machine. He threw his throw in for here. He says, Hit Machine CJ, Darth Bane books. He loves the Darth Bane books. Yeah, I had a buddy in the Navy, my buddy Gino. He loved the Darth Bane books. For me, man, my number 1 is Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Not only is that probably my favorite Star Wars movie next to Phantom Menace, I love that movie in general. Overall, as a film, I fucking love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. It's so good. The story is good. I love everything they did with it. The acting was amazing. Some of the best characters, really good actors. Rogue One is seriously one of my favorite movies ever.
Number 1 for me, I know I'm going to get a little, not backlash, but I'm going to get a little comments for this one, especially from the chat. Number 1, I'm going to have to give it to my boys, the Ewoks.
The Ewoks, all right.
Now, the Ewoks are so funny, but on top of that, too, the reason why I also place it number 1 is there's a mode on the newer Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's called the Ewok Hunt. So, like, one team is full of, like,
I heard about that, yeah.
So, like, everything's in the dark. You have a flashlight for a certain time, but everything's in the forest and it's in the dark. You're, like, getting hunted by Ewoks. You have to survive until, like, the rendezvous comes. It's so fun. But Ewoks are just hilarious to me. So,
they are awesome. Ewoks are great. I was real quick. I was you were saying that I got a bunch of Star Wars stuff sitting in front of me. I picked up this Star Wars. I never opened it. This puzzle for Kylo Ren for first Star Wars movie that came out in Japan. I can't even read it. It's all in Japanese. I'm holding on to this to maybe one day it'll be worth something. Who knows? Maybe.
That's a lot.
I've got my roommate last year, Isaac Moran. You can hear his episode on here on Apple. He gave me this pop for my birthday, IG-11, The Mandalorian. I've got this one too. Is probably one of my most crouched possessions. I've got the movie print for episode 1, never opened. It's over. What episode 1? What, almost like 23, 24 years old, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
This poster is old. This poster is old as shit. About as old as I am.
I think that was. Maybe like. I don't know. I thought it was like 5 when it came out. I think.
I think could have been 2000 was episode 1, so I would have been like 4 or 5 around then.
I think so.
Agent Nam says Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox for him. And if you guys want to throw in your stuff that you like about Star Wars as well, I'll try to see if I can show off the tattoo a little bit. I got Maul, I got Death Star, some Rogue stuff back there, Vader, and see, I want to get Kylo. It's on my shoulder. It's all the way back here. There it is. Kylo Ren.
Darth Maul was really good, but he was played by I forget his name, but the guy who played Darth Maul is the same guy who played Snake Eyes.
Yep.
And so talented. That dude is
wicked talented.
I forget his name. I think it's like if I remember correctly, like Ray something.
Yeah.
But, like, so talented. That dude is amazing. Like he made that Darth Maul. Like that was.
It was great. Yeah.
I gotta figure out who that is. Ray Park. That's his name. Ray Park.
Ray
Yeah.
Park. All right.
That.
He is incredible too. He has a lot. I think he has some martial arts background, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, guys, that is all of our topics and our top 5 for Star Wars Week. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Hit Machine CJ, Agent Nams, Billy Boyo, everybody. Thank you for keeping the chat alive. I appreciate that, everyone. This episode and more available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and I think some other third-party website. I found this one third-party website that like keeps reposting our stuff, but also Podbean, and we're making the switch to Anchor soon. And that'll be you'll be able to hear more ads and things like that. And good ads. We're always going to put out some good ads. But thank you to our followers and everyone. We're now at almost 500 subscribers across all of our platforms. Thank you guys so much for that. Thank you to Agent Nams for the follow, Cloud Chasers, JB Saraf, EasyKH for the follows. And our VIP for the month, he is here in the chat, Billy Boyo for the month of May. He is our VIP fan. I just ran into him down in Daytona. I hadn't seen him in over a year. So thanks for joining us down here on the podcast as well. Go to Fit and Prep Food Delivery, fitandprep.com, and see if they can deliver to you. Modernprogramming.com, see their games. Download Anti-Pong on Apple. Our buddy Chris, he is our first interview on here that we did. Floppy and the Sleepy Planet, a future Nintendo game coming out. Remy Crespo, the game designer for that. We did an interview with him. You can hear that as well. Hybrid ATX Summer Camp in Houston, Texas. Our buddy Sam down there running a video game and athleticism camp for kids. And also shout out to Tag Out Podcast. You can also feature Big Duke on there as well. And Laceration, lastly before we go, would you like some shout outs for yourself? The floor is yours. And yeah, thanks for coming by, man. It's been great having you on. And I think we can now break the news that Laceration Big Duke will be joining us as one of our panelists from here on out. It was great having him on, and he's just the greatest guy. So thanks, man. I appreciate that, you accepting our offer.
I appreciate the opportunity. Just a very quick few shout-outs and stuff. Shout-out to Versus Pro Studios. Check them out. Instagram, Facebook, pretty much all the social media. I also did want to give out to the guy that's in Versus Pro, who also AJ has a shirt on too, The Shade.
The Shade.
The Shade is the person that kickstarted Duke's career. So if you're a fan of Duke, you also are a fan of him too. Also give a huge shout out to my gaming crew, Revolt Squad. So big shout out to y'all. Big shout out to big shout out to the Tag Out Podcast. Again for the offer and everything, and Into the Gamer Actual and stuff. You'll see me more around and stuff, and also within next Sunday. Yeah, next Sunday I'll be at Versus Pro Studios. Not quite sure who I'll be up against, but just know it's going to be one hell of a match.
Yes. So, will that be televised as well, or on Twitch or anything like that, your matches?
I think it's going to be on Facebook.
On Facebook, okay.
Versus Pro Studios, and also on my Twitch, Laceration with the 3 instead of the E. It's not a cut, it's a laceration.
That's right. Thank you, guys. My name is AJ East Coast, and I have been your host, and we'll see you guys next week.